All right, all right, all right. This is Jeff Townsend, and you are tuning in for another live experience. Of course, the Bill DeMott experience. With that being said, joining me as always is our you are everything. You are Bill DeMott. You got 285 people already jumping in here, 9 different platforms.
They
Bill, how you
can't
doing?
wait. They're ready to go, man. They're ready to go. They know what Thursday means.
Thursday is just another day where Jeff can be late to a stream.
Well, I think everybody by now should know. If they don't know, let's start off before the first month of the year is over. Let's explain that 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, there's an ish.
Ish.
Ish. There's an ish.
You
9
know,
p.m. ish.
we'll try. We'll
I
get
think
close.
I
We'll get.
think everybody appreciates the ish.
How are you doing, man? When's the dinner? Is that tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Oh,
The mansion for the past 4 days has been an absolute wreck. Mama's a wreck. You know, this is our biggest event. We're not the foundation is not an event-based foundation, but we hold a couple of annual events, and this is the event that started it all for us. This is January's Carrie's birthday month, and so every year we have this annual dinner. We have upwards of over 200 tickets sold already. But the event's tomorrow night, and then it'll take us the weekend to like decompress and kind of get the house back in order and stuff like that. But tomorrow's the big day, man. So everybody's looking forward to that.
over 200 tickets. Hey, that's pretty good.
Yeah. We have great masters of ceremonies. I see there are hosts, people that are well known here in the Central Florida area. Sandra Ray is from 106.7. The top radio station in Central Florida, and Trooper Steve is the top traffic safety expert and on WKMG News here. So they'll be hosting the event. They've both hosted it separately over the past 8 years, and this is the first year we have them together co-hosting. So it's really going to be a pretty cool evening.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You got a lot of participation, so that's good. That's what it's all about, right? Spreading the word. Yep, doing the right thing.
We're acknowledging some really great organizations and some people that around the country that do amazing things. We have them in. We feed everybody with amazing food. We have a silent auction with everything from you name it, and we have a great silent auction from all over. So it's a good night, but it's one of those nights where we're excited it's here, and then we kind of can't wait till it's over, so the four of us can just sit around and look at each other Sunday as we watch football and go, wow, that's another one down,
Yeah, I gotcha. Big events are like that. It's a lot goes into make those things work.
Yeah.
Those of you listening, you're listening to the Build 'em On Experience live. We're all across social media and other platforms. So an update for some of you that have been asking. We had a watch along last week, 2003 Royal Rumble, which Bill was in. I haven't been able to successfully get that up on YouTube. It's been copyright blocked like crazy. Yeah. But I think the mistake I made for your old ears, Bill, is having it up too loud. So actually the audio is being
is that what it is? It's the audio.
Well, I got the video taken care of. It's the audio. So I got the video taken care of, then it flagged the audio. But hey, here's the good news. If you want to watch that, what we did last week, it's actually up across social media. So
nice.
Go to Bill and I's Twitter, go to On This Day in Pro Wrestling History's Facebook. It's up on all those different platforms still. It's just not able to get it up on the YouTube, but
nice.
We, of course, got the latest episode, which we talked about the injuries in NXT last week. But today, Bill, we're going to talk about some big things that happened in the professional wrestling world this week. Let me go ahead and kick it off with
all right.
Our good friends at the Wrestling Observer Radio for the first topic we'll talk about. It's kind of like a tradition. We got to start out with these guys, right?
We have to. Yeah.
We finally know where Raw is going, and it's Netflix.
Yes.
You know, on another show, I thought they were going to go to Amazon Prime, And I did say
that was most of the analysts thought Amazon Prime and FX were the two leading candidates.
Well, I thought Amazon Prime, and I thought there was a chance that they would make $500 million a year. And as it turns out, they're making $500 million a year on Netflix.
Yeah, but that's kind of misleading because it's not just like it's the 265 to 500, which sounds like double, because this also includes, international territories and all the rights to pay-per-views outside of the United States and Canada, I believe.
Well, that likely would have also been the case on Amazon Prime.
No, because of they were just going to get raw. Because this deal is going to include. This deal is not just United States; it's international. It includes SmackDown and NXT and much of the world. The value is the value of the existing deals that goes to 500 is probably in the 335 million range. So it's about a 50% increase, which is what they wanted. It wasn't more than they wanted. It wasn't like a financially, it's the deal that they wanted. It's a deal that will not hurt them as far as the stock price goes, but it's not it's not more than they promised either. So it was, anything less than 500 for everything that they're giving them would have been considered would have hurt the stock price a little bit. Although I think that going to Netflix probably alleviates that to a degree, because I think that there's people who would go with the idea that Netflix is hotter and growing perhaps more than television.
He didn't want to give him too much, though, did he?
What does all of that valuable information have to do with the sale? Why can't we just say, holy crap, for the second time in less than a year, the WWE is making billions of dollars. End of discussion. Well, with the sit back and the stockpiles and the 335 billion, I mean, that's not acceptable. And when we're talking about it, it's the out of the country pay-per-views and who cares?
A lot of money.
$500 million a year for 10 years. $5 billion.
At least 10 years, it sounds like.
$5 billion. Let's go back to the conversation that you and I have had in every wrestling. I like this word, and I'm going to use it now because Uncle Dave used it. Wrestling analysts. We're wrestling analysts. All the wrestling analysts thought they were going to Amazon or I didn't know. $5 billion for 10 years. Come on, dude.
I don't have all the details in front of me, but there is a lot to this, obviously, as there is for any contractual agreement of this magnitude or any contract involving television, media rights. Yeah, I mean, this is a big thing. There's more to it. Like he said, it's for the international scene. Netflix locks it up. As many of you are aware, the Peacock still owns the rights. Is it through or until 2026?
No,
for the premium live events. I'm sure there's like a certain number.
Yeah,
and obviously the video content, the library, WWE and everything WWE owns. Peacock still has their NBC, Universal still has their hands on that for, let's just say a few more years. But after that, that's fair game too. But it sounds like this will effectively, possibly bring, and a lot of speculation, bring the end of the WWE network globally, potentially.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of content that Netflix gets when they do this.
But
no, go ahead.
Let me ask you this. And I'm always going to be that guy.
That's fine.
In the big scheme of being a wrestling fanatic, you and I are both wrestling fanatics. We're fans of this business. We like to talk about the business. But why do people, and this is always going to be my question, I guess, why do people think they need to know all the details? It's not like they're getting a piece of the pie. Even stockholders don't even need to know as much as everybody's trying to tell them, because it doesn't pertain to them. It doesn't pertain to me watching the product. All I know now is before I didn't have a Netflix subscription.
You did not have one? You did not have
one? My daughter has it, so I can go on and watch it. If I want to watch Netflix, I can. But the point is, you could go on to Netflix, sign up for the free month, binge watch a series, and then cancel it. Now, presumably for the next 10 years, every Monday night you're going to see a live product. So now Netflix subscriptions have got to go through the roof, I'd imagine, in the next 6 months, because it doesn't start till January, if I understand it right.
Yeah, and we'll get into some of this concern in more detail. But yeah, you're right. It doesn't start till January. But nevertheless, even if, let's just say, nobody new subscribed, this still, and I don't have the exact figures in front of me. This is all going off memory. I think there's 270 million people have a Netflix subscription. Obviously, by far more than the USA Network. When you break it down to the US market, it's a little bit more than the USA Network still, but it's an incredible amount of exposure, and it's something new to Netflix. Netflix
Live.
has done a few live things, mostly comedy shows. So this will be a new venture for them. It gives them, you said, a year. A year's going to go by fast. Netflix has got to get this infrastructure down. They've got to get this whole system down of doing a live event, which they have not got into too much. Now, I will say there was a lot of talk of Amazon Prime. There was even some Warner Brothers Discovery, all of which, mostly Amazon Prime and Peacock, have been dabbling in this live event. Peacock's done very well with it. College basketball is on there, football's on there.
Right.
And Amazon Prime has done football too. So this is new for Netflix, but I'm not surprised at all that they left cable television.
No, I mean, they being the WWE and that machine has always done an amazing job of having their finger on the pulse of what's relevant, what's going to, continue to be relevant, what's going to step up, and streaming is the thing. But now you're bringing to that audience that number that you said, other than a few rare occasions, every Monday night now you have live content on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I just think it's, and imagine between now and then they'll get the WWE universe used to it. And, I'm sure they have a lot of things to work out, but I looked at it like the conversation in the mansion this week was, what was it, a year ago? $9.1 billion they sold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
6, 7, 8 months later, $5 billion. This little thing that's, started with this freaking WrestleMania thing that nobody knew about. And this is what we're talking about. And I just think it's amazing, man, that, for old farts like me, is this the end of the longest running episodic television show in the history of cable television? Yes.
What do you mean by the end of?
Well, because it's no longer cable television, right? So does it start a new category, or is it still the longest running episodic television?
That's a good question. I don't know the technicality of that. I would say, yeah, to me it is. It still qualifies to me, but
because for us in the war room and in the production rooms and everything, it was always, as we counted down each year and how many episodes, it was the longest running episodic show on cable television.
Yeah, SmackDown's second. Yeah,
we're on streaming television. It's going to be on streaming television. So I wonder if that reign ends, or is there a? And these are the things I think about. These are things like, wow, history.
Interesting question. SmackDown will still keep that going.
Yeah,
obviously. Look who showed up.
Good. Listen, I appreciate Vince McMahon's mustache, but I don't know if we're going to talk too much about Vince tonight, man.
Yeah, that's pretty discouraging stuff.
I'm sure we will, but I'm going to try to stay away from it.
Vince McMahon's mustache, longtime listener of the podcast.
Yeah, good guy.
And he had to drop his pal comment.
Good shit, pal.
This is cool though. This Netflix thing. It's kind of, and I'll tell you what. I think it does a lot of good for OVW's success on there with the wrestlers show.
Yeah.
That's going to bring, and they've agreed to additional content of that. That's going to bring a lot of light on that too. So I think it's kind of, and maybe other things can get on board as well. And I think it might bring more attention to the industry as a whole. But not having Raw on cable will be so weird.
It'll be weird.
But Bill, this is where things are going, man. We continue to see these cable satellite companies just really struggle to
Yeah.
get new additional business. The Direct TVs of the world, they did that big merger with AT&T forever
Right.
ago, and they're never going to recoup the cost of that just because right after they make that huge investment, these streaming platforms start to slowly but surely take over. Are they
Yeah.
quite there yet, the level? Some of them are more, obviously, and Netflix is more than a lot of things, but hey, I think it's go time, and they're gonna willing to invest more money to get additional content on these streaming
Yeah.
providers just because, I mean, you got your reality series, you got your Netflix originals, but what else can you bring to the table for a consumer of Netflix? And this live experience is it.
Yeah. And the flip side is I think it opens doors, and we talked about this within the past couple of episodes. I think this opens a door for TNA to get a better deal now.
Yeah.
Maybe the NWA to get a better television deal now because of the move. People are going to be looking for that content. Wrestling's hot again across the board, and it's a moneymaker. And this sale proved it. This merger, whatever the correct term is, this move to Netflix has proved it once again that wrestling is hot.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I was never sold on the Amazon Prime. To be honest, I knew it was going to be a 50-50. I mean, I didn't know, right? I'll just say I had a feeling it was going to be a 50-50 that would end up on a streaming service. But I really thought with USA out of the way, you'd probably see a Disney, like an FX.
Yeah.
But apparently this has been in the works for a couple of months and did a pretty good job of not getting leaked.
A really good job of not from my memory. Netflix has never been mentioned. I don't think.
I think it's been mentioned, but not in a main, not by,
like a constant way of, okay, Netflix is still in it. Everybody was mentioned, but Netflix was never a front runner as far as that I can recall.
Yeah, I don't recall that either.
Yeah,
but now it's here and it's there.
I think it's good.
What do you?
And
as a traditionalist, how do you feel about consuming it on a streaming platform?
I don't, other than you telling me it's a streaming platform, to me, it's just something I have to figure out. Like you have to, like I said, I don't have Netflix. And we talked about it. I think it's like watching the Thursday night games on Amazon Prime. It was annoying. So I didn't watch the Thursday night games because I couldn't figure it out. But I think, I know I'm going to figure it out because I know I'm going to see it every week. The Thursday night games for the season, there's only so many Thursday night games for the season. Then there's no reason for me to watch Amazon Prime. I don't know. I'm just not into all those shows and, binge watching and all that stuff. But now with this Netflix, I'm going to have to learn it. I'm going to have someone literally write me up a list that I can tack next to my chair and go, okay, press this button, and then you're on Netflix. So
the old saying applies to you, though, Bill. It doesn't matter what you think. Because what does matter, Bill, is the focus on the 18 to 49 demographic, which may I remind you, you are not a part of that.
I'm just north of that.
Let's back up to even younger. I have young kids. They don't know what television is.
Right.
It's all apps to them.
My son doesn't know what regular
here.
TV is.
I don't have cable here, Bill. I use YouTube TV, and it's just an app to them.
Yeah.
You know what happens when a commercial comes on? You know what they call it?
What?
I hate ads. Everything's ads, right? They don't know what, and I say commercial, they're like, what's that? They don't know what a commercial is anymore because they don't watch television per se.
Right.
It's been modernized to stream.
Right.
Which is way more cost effective than what I was paying for like a dish network.
Right.
Like $120 a month, and you had all these channels, and only channels I actually watched, I get that way cheaper for YouTube TV, even though they keep increasing the price.
Right.
But still, though, it's just about, I think, getting caught up with the times, I guess is what I'm saying. The key demo.
Do you think or have you? Like I said, once I learn about the buy or the merger or whoever's taking it over, I don't delve into all the logistics. Is Raw going to be non-commercials now?
No, I don't think so. But there's different tiers of Netflix, just like Peacock, the ad free and the
Okay.
ad. So I think the question will be, what do you do during those commercial plugged in, like the time they literally
Gotcha.
dedicate. So I
Yeah.
think if you have a certain tier, you'll be watching a commercial. I
Okay.
think if you don't, it'll be like Peacock where they play WWE related stuff. But here's
Okay.
the deal, man. If they have a deal with sponsorships, they'll probably play a commercial. I
Sure.
mean, I would assume that or a picture. I don't know. I'm just assuming. But to answer your question, there's different tiers of that, just like everything else.
See, so I'll get used to it. I'm excited for it. Like if they were telling us Raw is going away, and the only way you can see it is this way, and it's the most tedious thing. But Netflix is the new, like you said, the new TV, the new thing that these
Mhm.
kids are into and the younger people are into, and
Yep.
so you just get used to it. I don't think there's going to be a big hullabaloo about it. I think people are just going to transition to it in January, and the ball keeps rolling. And here's the thing: you and I can talk about this, or Uncle Dave and Alvarez can talk about it with all their knowledge of the business.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the people in charge know it's going to make money, that so much so they're investing $500 million a year into it.
There's a catch to all this though that I'm really curious how this plays out. This is just speculation right now, but this part is actually factual. The contract with USA Network for Monday Night Raw ends in October. Netflix has committed to starting in January. So the word on the word in the wrestling community right now is they will not air Monday Night Raw for those 3 months. Not confirmed by any means. But the question becomes now, what do they do with Monday Night Raw between October of this year and January of next year?
Well,
That is what people are starting to try to figure out now.
I think SmackDown becomes the biggest thing on the planet, because you can take those months where SmackDown's going to be still on USA, right?
SmackDown's moving to USA and yep, that same
So
time period. We
so
also
I
don't know
think,
what day Monday Night Raw is going to be on technically.
right, it may not be Monday Night Raw anymore. It could be,
Right.
Wednesday
I have a
Night
hard time
War.
believing that though.
But I think it's an opportunity for SmackDown to really shine brighter than it already does. But it like, those are the things I look forward to. I don't need to know this 6 months in advance. I'm like, I'm interested. I'm inquisitive about it, but I don't want to dwell on it. Like, I want to, like, show me something. This is a chance for WWE to really take the universe on a ride.
Yep.
For the next 6 months, man. And I think it's going to be tremendous.
The flagship of professional wrestling, and
Yeah.
this is an innovative strategy, and they continue to be innovative, and you can't expect any less.
Yeah.
I'm not writing out the possibility though that maybe somehow they can figure out how to work something out with USA Network for 3
I'm
months.
sure something there can be an extension or an amendment or something like that.
Yeah.
All
But
parties can agree to that.
you definitely just can't have a 3-month gap. They'll have to figure
Listen,
that out.
I'm sure The Rock can, now that he's on the board of directors, can make some phone calls and make everybody happy.
Hey, you said it, so let's go there. Let's go there with another video here. CNBC interview with The Rock.
Their hard-earned dollars to get to theaters, you want to send them home happy. And that is truly the bottom line. Send them home happy.
Another responsibility is being a fiduciary on a public board. Is it your first time on a public board?
First time, yes.
So you know you have to hold him accountable, right?
I do, yes, I have been.
So are you ready for it?
I've been holding him accountable for 20 years. This is why we've been succeeding. He has been holding me accountable, yes.
Any expectations in terms of serving on a public company board, given it is a new experience for you?
I'm excited, and I'm always looking to grow. I like to say that I'm a builder of things, and I enjoy building. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But with something like this, everything that I do and everything that I do touch, there is usually, not usually, there 100% is a deeper meaning to it. So joining this board, I have been asked to join other boards in the past.
Yeah.
Joining this board was unique and different and special in that, again, I'm sitting at a board that my grandfather and my dad helped build, and also helped building a company and growing it globally with a global footprint with a guy who I love and admire. And I love building with him too.
You know,
as well.
the funny thing is, the family tree that he has, and he said it recently, wrestling built him. He also built it, and his family built it. That TKO and his family can come together and kind of their branches meet up now. So special.
Come on, man. As a, I don't know if I think I'm one of Dwayne's peers. Someone in the business, worked with him.
But you don't know him like Dave does, though.
Yeah, I don't know him like Dave knows him. So I'll call him Rock. I don't call him Dwayne ever. I think maybe once. But the thing for me, how cool is this? Say what you want about, oh, he's a movie star, all he's this. He being Dwayne always comes back to his family, always comes back to this business, always understands. And here's the thing I'm gonna preface this with. Some people will say things because they think that's what people want to hear. I don't believe Dwayne's that person. I believe Dwayne stands true to the fact that he knows everything that he's been blessed with came from this business, came from opportunities. Yes, that his grandpa, his dad, and the families worked through, but he's come back to it. And it proves that wrestlers aren't dummies. Some of us are, but there's a lot who aren't and are great businessmen and are going to carry this on. Don't think for 1 minute that Dwayne being a part of this board didn't have a lot to do with the Netflix deal. Don't think for 1 minute it didn't have something to do with it. This guy's golden. Everything he touches, even the failures that people say are failures, are golden. I wish I could have his failures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's awesome. I think it's a great move. I know he doesn't. I believe he does. I take it back. I don't want to say I know. I believe he doesn't take it lightly. And here's a guy who's learned the business. To me, Triple H is on the same level as The Rock. Business-wise, entertainment-wise, everything. Triple H is on the same, and there's a reason for these things happening. And it's coming to fruition. From years ago, people saying, "Oh, if this ever happened, if this," and these things are happening. But I think it's awesome. Huge congratulations go out to him. And here's the thing for people: you want to give a bunch of wrestlers hope. He owns his name.
That appears to be a big part of this, from what everything I've read.
Which
is
owns
huge for
his
him.
Name. Which, again, I have no inside information, but I would venture to say he probably took, I don't know if you get paid to be on the board or whatever to think, but he probably took less of a financial investment to own his name.
Well, that's the ultimate investment.
That's the ultimate investment. No longer can anyone else use it or anything. Listen, we all knew who The Rock was. He built that brand, and WWF and WWE helped him build that brand. And, but it'd be the same as if Stone Cold owned Stone Cold.
Right.
So I think this is going to start a trend as well. So congratulations to The Rock. Congratulations to TKO. And, I'm excited about these kind of moves, man. Wrestlers have to be part of the wrestling business. Actual wrestlers. I feel the same way about football. A football coach who's never played the game could be the greatest football coach in the world. But if you've never played the game, there's a connection that's missing. There's that thing amongst the players, amongst the boys, amongst the talent. Like, Dwayne's one of us. And so to me, you feel secure with him. Hunter Paul's one of us, and you're secure in that fact. Shawn Michaels at NXT, he's one of them. So he understands. There's an understanding. There's this comfort in that. So a lot of big things happening this week.
A lot of big things. And The Rock's kind of, in my opinion, really like and I know Stone Cold was absolutely huge. I think he probably made more money in wrestling. But The Rock is kind of like a modern Hulk Hogan, man, as far as people outside of wrestling. And there's people still to this day, I guarantee it, that the first wrestler that comes to their head is Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
But the longer we get away from Hulk Hogan's years, and I think the more we'll have The Rock like that for people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
do you agree with that statement?
Yeah, I think it's a good statement. And here's your perfect scenario. This was the 40th anniversary of Hulkamania.
We'll cover that later this episode.
But Rock is a higher headline. Netflix and Rock joining TKO is a higher headline than Hulkamania. Not in a bad way. It's just this is the progression, and I agree with your statement. I think it's 100% accurate.
There was a lot of talk that they were really going to promote that 40-year Hulk Hogan, and I guess they just didn't push it as much as I was reading they might have.
Yeah, I kind of
there's so much going on, like you said. What do you know?
I expected it on Monday, or maybe it'll be on SmackDown. But I think with everything else that's going on, it might have been put to the back burner.
There's a lot going on. First of all, good and bad, but I don't know how you highlight something like that when you come out with this big news. Bill, this news came out earlier than you thought it would.
What's that?
This Netflix deal.
Yes, I didn't think it,
close to WrestleMania. We talked last week.
Yeah, I thought for sure it would be after the fact, and that's kind of like this news. But now they have the Rumble and Mania to build, so I think that's why the Hogan thing got pushed to the back burner because of all the big things that are happening. Let's not forget Royal Rumble's this weekend, and then WrestleMania is right down the road.
Big time.
So
it's exciting.
It's an exciting time right now across the board.
I just can't wait to get you streaming on Netflix.
Man, I'm gonna Netflix and chill. But I heard that doesn't mean what I think it means.
I can't even tell you there. Well, I do not know.
So I said this to I'm going to use Casey because Casey's my moral compass. I said, yeah, now I'm going to Netflix and chill. And she goes, no, you're not. I said, yeah, I'm going to sit back and watch. She goes, that's not what it means, Dad. So I said, I don't want to know what it means.
I'm going to have to ask her. I kind of want to know what it means.
Well, I think Netflix and chill means, hey, you want to come over and let's Netflix and chill, but it has nothing to do with TV. Let's just hook up or.
Gotcha.
Wow. Knock some boots or something.
That's what these kids are saying back.
That's what these kids. So I hear me, I'm jiggy with it. So I said I'm gonna Netflix and chill. No, I'm jiggy with it, man.
Back onto the topic. This spectacle of what WWE is doing. The spectacle of what WWE is doing is amazing.
Yeah.
And the presentation piece is always been really big for WWE, going back to WrestleMania originally.
Yeah.
And this just kind of adds to that. Like you get this larger than life experience with the WWE.
I mean, you think back to that first WrestleMania, remember you could go buy a ticket in the movie theaters, right? They were doing on those like satellite things, and look what
I wasn't alive yet, but I'll take your word for it.
I was, and it was same thing with Elvis was the inventor of the pay-per-view. He did that show from Hawaii, and it went out to local, and you had to go buy a ticket to go watch it somewhere.
Yeah.
Then it became In Your House with WrestleMania. Now look, it's on Netflix and all this. Everything's unbelievable, and WWE stands at the forefront of all these moves.
They do. We talked about this. Maybe it can raise the bar for other wrestling companies because share my screen here for you if I can find it here. We had this was out of a wrestling news article. Let's see if I can find it even. If this is it or not. Yeah. AEW 24th edition of AEW Dynamite screenshot from the during the show of the crowd.
Yeah.
This image is going out all over the internet. I don't know how accurate it is. It's definitely from that night. It's just obviously not on the side of the camera they're filming. Obviously, right? It'd be
So here's the thing for me. We don't know if that was during dark matches after. We don't know if it was pre-TV, right? All we
Right.
know is we see that, and then it opens the door for everybody to chime in. And that's why I'll always go back to, if you're a fan of the business, why is that the most important thing to you? Why that's, you're not a fan of the business now. You're just a storyteller, you're a reporter, you're someone trying to get follows, likes, and thumbs ups and all those things. Like, but here's the thing, they have to do something.
the attendance is down for their events.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that building, if I remember, could hold like 10,000 people. So they're still using venues that are by far exceeding what they could possibly sell.
Yeah. I would think they should have gone to lower fewer attendance. You know what I mean? So
That's what I wonder about
5,000 is
AEW.
better than 10,000.
Their production costs have to be through the roof for what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's one thing that I thought that TNA had so many troubles over the years, but they always tried to manage the damn production cost. Yeah. And I assume that has to be high.
Yeah, because they've changed their set design and everything else, and they to their credit, they've upgraded it, but I just don't know if it works for what they're doing.
Right.
And so
my thing is, though, the reason I brought this up is, do you think this, obviously all the attention's on WWE, which it typically is.
Right.
Do you think this Netflix thing we're talking about could help AEW? Let's say this goes well for WWE. AEW is in with Warner Brothers Discovery. They may own part of the company. They have HBO Max. Do you think this could be something that could be universally accepted across these different wrestling promotions?
Well, let me turn it back around to you and say, do you think that AEW delivers the kind of product that WWE does that makes a Netflix make this kind of deal? Do you think that AEW is delivering a product now that Warner Brothers or Disney or whoever else is going to go, let's get them streaming?
If the prices are right for both sides.
That's just it. I think the price is right for both sides here, because clearly $5 billion is a lot of money. I don't see AEW pulling in $500 million a year. So I'm just not sure they're there yet.
Warner Brothers Discovery does own them, then this might be something that you experiment with.
Yeah,
because I will say one thing. Let me ask you this, Bill, not to cut you off. Do you think this premium live event strategy for professional wrestling is more the way to go than the traditional pay-per-view route? There's pros and cons.
I don't know what the difference is. I'll be honest with you.
Well, the difference is definitely a lot of I would assume a lot more people are going to be able to watch it
because of the streaming.
All these WWE pay-per-views every month, every new one is the most watched one in regards to as it relates to that event historically.
Because of being on Peacock, you mean?
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the way to go. I think that's going to be the proven way to go. But I think you have to earn your way into that position too.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people say, it's been a long 5 years for AEW, but they're still they're still babies in the hunt. But a lot of people are hoping they catch up quicker than they are, and see things change. But I'd like to see it gives them an opportunity now to own. Well, let's face it, there's no ratings don't matter anymore. And I don't think they mattered for a while, but now
the rankings do.
Yeah, well,
The rankings are back, baby.
Are we going to get 10 stars now on Netflix, or where are we at? I just don't think AEW's at the place where they can command that kind of attention.
It all depends on the situation, because it sounds like there's a possibility, and I don't have all the facts of this. Maybe it's already some on there, that the NWA will have content on the app, on an app. Now, it doesn't sound like they're going to be on like television, like NXT
Right.
obviously took up that spot, and I'm not sure they'd be willing to invest that. The what's it, CW, but it sounds like they might find their way onto an app. So with that being said, I think maybe that is the way to go, instead of trying to invest in, like, TNA's kind of doing it. WWE did it with the network, which was groundbreaking then, but
Yeah.
maybe that is a way to go as far as more exposure for some of these companies. AEW
Yeah.
might be able to benefit from getting some of the content on an app, for starters, eventually, right?
Well, they have the whole ROH library.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
I mean, there's definitely, I think, an opportunity there. But to me, I'll go back to, I'm not sure they have the right people in place to make that happen. I don't know what the vision is. You know what I mean? I feel like, and I say this respectfully, because I've never worked with AEW. I've worked with WWF, WWE. So I understood the vision. I knew where it was going, what it wanted to do.
Right.
So I'm not sure what the vision is yet for AEW. There's a ton of opportunity. I think there's a ton of opportunity for TNA as well. But I wouldn't be surprised if NXT gets a big boost coming, and I think there's a lot of opportunities for people. So these apps are interesting. These streaming platforms are interesting to me. It's the the evolution of not just this business, but all sporting events and things like that. So
What I'm feeling like you're saying is AEW is going to have a little bit more stability to,
yeah,
but they have seen success in their first 5 years in some
Yeah.
regards. Financially, we don't know, but as far as some of the, in comparison to what other NXT has had in viewership and stuff, AEW has at times compared to it, which is
Yeah.
impressive for a new company. But you're saying that it needs some more stability, some more time.
Yeah, and I think this is the perfect opportunity for AEW, specifically Tony Khan, to now leave Twitter alone and everything else. Stop comparing yourself to the other. They're going to be going on a streaming service. You can claim you own cable television, wrestling, all that stuff. Like focus on what's in front of you and not what's going on around you. But yes, you said it right. I think more stability.
I think they just got to get back to the fundamentals and figure out what exactly
Yes.
they want to accomplish. They're not dead in the water by any means, but they
Not
just got
by
to
a
get
long
back
shot,
to the
yeah.
basics. I'll pull up another article on my phone here. I don't have it on the PC, but there was an interesting sports CI, Sports Illustrated. They do a weekly wrestling ad
Right.
by Justin. I'm trying to remember his last name. It's like Barroso or something. He has an article he puts out for Sports Illustrated every week. This week, he had this article titled, Sports Illustrated, WrestleMania 40 card is taking shape and it looks spectacular. So they had reported, this is pretty detailed, that they had this WrestleMania 40 card figured out here. This is how it reads, the article. The Rock is headed back to WrestleMania. Bayley is about to get her moment, and Gunther will soon be a made man. Oh, and one more detail. Roman Reigns is going to keep his seat at the head of the table. WrestleMania 40 is shaping up to be an extraordinary event. All signs point to a 2-night affair being headlined by Roman Reigns against The Rock. The latest news that Dwayne The Rock Johnson joined the board of TKO directors, blah, 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 has opened up a new window for him to return in the ring at WrestleMania. There was already a possibility that it would occur. Rock wasn't ad-libbing on New Year's Day edition episode of Raw. A victory against The Rock would be an incredible, significant thing for Roman Reigns. Fast forwarding it here. After a month of speculation that CM Punk would challenge World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, a new plan is in place. Gunther is the favorite to win the Royal Rumble and then dethrone Rollins on the first night of WrestleMania. Rollins revealed on Raw, he talked about his MCL tear. Fast forward it some more here. That would allow Gunther to headline after winning that, it would allow him to headline the Bash in Berlin that will take place after that in Germany. We've heard about that.
Mm-hmm.
So where does this leave Cody Rhodes, the article says? Multiple sources close to WWE head of creative Paul Levesque, Triple H, have indicated that Rhodes will not headline this year's event, nor will he finish his story at WrestleMania. There will still be a new chapter to write with a matchup against CM Punk. Rhodes and Punk laid the groundwork for this on previous episodes of Raw. This article's going on to say a bunch of different things, Bill, and guess the card of WrestleMania, basically. Drop some really big things here. Sports Illustrated.
Right.
It really made you think, like, what's going on there? Because a lot of the stuff we've been talking about, what can the outcome be? There's only one problem with this, though. The next day they had to come out and basically recant all that article from the day before. I don't know if you'd heard this.
No.
Yeah, so they came out. So this was reported on the 24th. They came out today, and they said, they being the individual Justin Baruso that wrote it, I think it's his name. I'm sorry if I'm butchering his last name. He released a statement today and on behalf of Sports Illustrated. I reported spoilers for Sports Illustrated yesterday regarding the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania 40. I reported that it was detailed to me previously by reliable sources. It appears this was deliberate attempt at misinformation that is being spread through WWE itself. I apologize for the errors in yesterday's report. When posting these reports, the entirety of the information needs to be accurate. Again, I apologize.
So the golden rule is stop guessing at what you think is going to happen and saying someone told you. Well, my sources.
Well, I have no doubt somebody could have told him.
I'm sure. And I'm
how
sure
reliable is that?
But we've talked about this before. They leak out what they want to leak out. They let things be said that they want to be said. They throw detours out there. They throw speed bumps, misdirection, all these things. But
Sports Illustrated, it's pretty. I mean, this isn't. No offense, this isn't Wrestling Observer. You could argue both ways. Wrestling Observer may have more knowledge and connections in the wrestling community, but as a whole, Sports Illustrated is significant.
Yeah.
So they'd come out the next day and say, never mind, we probably got fed some BS.
Or they got told some things they weren't supposed to put out when they did, and then, they made them retract it.
Bill, DeMott, what I'm asking you is, how do you think some of those things we just talked about are going to play out?
I feel like here's my only concern about WrestleMania. I'm interested to still see where it all happens. I think there's a lot of matchups, a lot of storylines that are intriguing. The thing that I'm afraid of as a fan, what I'm afraid of is how much longer can Cody continue to finish the story if there's not going to be a payoff. Did they jump on it so fast and so hard, and now all the comebacks have happened? Orton and Punk and AJ, and The Rock's going to be with Roman, and the head of the table has now taken precedence over the bloodline. And there's been so many changes in the past year since last WrestleMania that I feel like the one guy who's going to get lost in the shuffle is Cody Rhodes. And while I don't believe he's ever going to be, further down in the card or anything, I think his superstar status is there and who he is. But how much more can you get people to bite on the finish my story? Because now everybody's using it's my story, it's my story, it's my story. So either it's a big swerve and Cody's going to do what he set out to do, but I feel like if Cody doesn't face Roman Reigns at this WrestleMania, you're asking me to buy in for another year, and I won't buy into that story.
It's interesting because I feel like we saw this before a little bit last year. We didn't really get an end to the story per se, like it could to the level it could have been.
Yeah.
Was with Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
In any other timely world and manner, like Sami Zayn would have won that title at Fastlane, and the rest would have been history. It would have been like Daniel Bryan almost when they kind of rewrote a lot of things after that SummerSlam.
Yeah.
When he won the title and lost it again. But they didn't. They stuck to the bloodline with the whole Sami Zayn thing. But this goes to show you they never got back around to that fully.
No.
Maybe they still will. I don't get the feeling, but maybe.
And I think it'd be a hard sell. Just like for me, the kind of segueing off into the Seth Rollins thing, we were brought into this with his back with Nakamura, and then that was thrown away. So now we're led to believe his knee and this thing with Gunther, so there's so many ways it can always go. But I think when you have everybody invested in a certain storyline or believing in someone so strong,
yeah,
maybe the thought is Cody's so over as a baby face, they can continue this story and people are going to stay with him. And I believe there's truth to that. But there's a certain fan, for me, I'm a fan who I need to see him finish the story. I don't necessarily need to see him become champion. That's the ultimate end to the story, but at least be in the ring with the man to finish the story. But now Drew has a story he wants to finish. Punk has a story he's got to finish. I got to finish my story. Randy's got his story. AJ's got his story. The Usos are almost I don't want to say non-existent anymore, but the bloodline thing's kind of done, and we're just leading to the head of the table with Rock and Roman. WrestleMania either way is going to be amazing. The only person that I have concern for is to see how they keep Cody so strong that people want to see him, finish the story.
Yeah. Yep. Then you got to fit a lot of other people into that, but there are 2 belts.
Yep.
Not the biggest fan of having multiple big championships like that,
So
but
many, yeah.
they got it. WWE has a good problem on their hands. They got a lot of good people.
And that's the thing. It's so cool. Like I can't even. I would have to sit for an hour or so and get my whiteboard and go, okay, it's this, and this. And that's the part to me that takes away from the fandom. Like, I don't need to break it down to that minute details. Like, I'm looking at it going, wow, there's so many different ways to go here that that WrestleMania, 2 nights of WrestleMania is going to be cool. Hey, would I like to see Cody and Roman on night 1 or night 2? Yes. But do I know I'm going to get The Rock and Roman somewhere in WrestleMania? Yes. But nothing saying Roman has to be champion to be the head of the table. So
Yeah,
we could have Cody beat Roman, and then we still have the head of the table.
How important do you think him passing Hulk Hogan really is to WWE?
I think in the infrastructure, it's very big. It's a cool.
There's never an opportunity. I don't want to say never, but it doesn't feel like there'll be an opportunity for it to happen again.
No, yeah, I would go on the stronger side of never again after this, because the business continues to change. But I think this is paramount, and this is the new regime, if you will. This is their creation. Roman Reigns is part of a new generation of wrestler, and they created the history in this. So I think it's relevant to a lot of people. I think it's relevant to the business. It'll be a good fact and good part of the history. It kind of cements Roman in the history books. But I don't think it's as big as people are making it.
They're going to have to strum up some new stuff because the bloodline thing's getting a tad bit on the stale side as we go into WrestleMania here.
Yeah, it could be, they could all turn on Roman. I could see it,
Some breaking news here, possibly. I'm not sure. Vince McMahon's mustache on Twitter has reported that Okada has shown up in TNA tonight. This must be happening as we're speaking. I don't.
Mhm.
As I did a quick search on Twitter, everybody's talking about it. This has been another topic Bill I had on the agenda for tonight. If you were
Yeah.
familiar with his work and what you thought
Yeah.
he would do, I don't know what this means exactly. He showed up on TNA tonight, which is cool. But as far as his future, there's a lot of speculation now as this is literally happening as we're speaking. Does this symbolize my more realistic AEW contract?
I think it's the same along the same lines because if I remember right, Osprey made his rounds as well. And everybody was going, "Where's Osprey going?" And where's
Mm-hmm.
and that was the thing with Nick Nemeth and all these other, can they show up here? Can they show up there? Remember we saw Nick Nemeth show up in Japan first.
Yeah, people
And
are
then
just
the
saying
TNA.
it's historically speaking, it's more likely the AEW would let him do that than WWE.
Yes.
Interesting. Definitely a spectacular performer.
Yeah.
So I was
There's a
excited to see
lot
where
of
he'd
cool
come.
things happening like that now. People are showing up at certain, certain companies or certain venues or certain, events. I think it's cool that happens. I'm not sure if we'll ever see WWE let that happen, but they did let Nakamura go to Japan and work, so that was something different for them. But Okada showing up in TNA is good. I think TNA I think has going back to that thing we were talking about earlier. I think they have a vision. They have the things they want to accomplish.
Yeah.
I think the door is wide open for everybody.
Okada in TNA. Interesting. I was kind of wanting to see him do some stuff in NXT. And I don't mean that in a Okada deserves to go to NXT sort of way. I mean that
Right.
in I think he could do great stuff in NXT just like we've
Yeah.
seen Nakamura and others do. So yeah, I don't know what that means. To me, it does seem more likely that he's. A lot of people are saying AEW is willing to pay a lot of money to get him there, and I'm not saying WWE wouldn't. He's going to make a lot of money no matter what, life changing money, right?
Right.
He's 37 years old. It is now time to figure out what you're going to do. What is his goal? Is it to be in like a WrestleMania, or is it to go wrestle in America with a lot of people he's performed with before in AEW?
Right.
Either way is good for him. But yeah, secretly, I was not even secretly because I just exposed it, I guess. I was kind of hoping to see him do some stuff in NXT, but nevertheless, a great performer, and I'll watch his matches, whether he's in Japan or America. But I don't know. So TNA tonight, I guess I'll have to watch that when we get off here.
Yeah, and I think those I would say those guys from Japan, the Japanese wrestlers, they've worked so hard for so many years. They want to go where the most eyes are going to be on them anyway. Back to your point, like if he went to AEW, they have such a stable of talent. I mean, geez, Lou, it's you're getting lost in the shuffle. So
Get lost in the shuffle. I have no doubt he'll be highlighted in matches at all. But then again,
at what
storyline
expense
wise,
to the rest of your roster?
Yeah.
That's the flavor of ice cream. Everybody becomes a flavor of ice cream.
Yep. So yeah, more to come on that.
Cool.
Thanks for
Good
breaking
for
that
him.
news
Good
with
for
the
him.
man's mustache. Long time listener, first time caller. Is this his first time popping in live?
This is his first time joining us. Yeah.
Yeah, he usually just listens to it afterwards. So yeah.
My man.
Yeah, we got people across 8 or 9 different platforms right now. Thank you all for listening live. Of course, this is the Bill DeMott experience. We've been discussing the Netflix deal, of course, The Rock joining the TKO board, and now the AEW, I guess the AEW or WWE debate of Okada as he's shown up in TNA tonight.
What do you think? Did you happen to catch AEW earlier this week?
Shouting out to a few people. Hey, I follow if you can burp.
I follow if you can.
Oh, someone asked you a question here. Bill, what you think about older wrestlers still wrestling at a high level, Edge, Sting, PCO, etc.?
What do I think? I think they're amazing. And as long as they feel good and can get up and want to keep doing it, God bless them. I think we all, money. Yeah, make more money. And, it sounds different, but the older wrestlers, I think you start to enjoy it more.
Yeah.
Because you're not caught up in all the hype and the hustle bustle and now you get to come back and set your own terms and your own pace. So God bless them all, man. More power to them. And as long as they're healthy and feel good and can do things on their terms, keep going, baby.
Got a lot. So we got some questions we'll get to real quick
Okay.
before we segue out. Somebody's asked you if you watched TNA last night. I had it on in the background. I did not pay that close of attention to it, to be honest. I watched Adam Copeland's match. That was about the only match I really laid eyes on. So were you going to ask me something too?
AEW?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what you thought, because we talked about Samoa Joe and Hook.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that too much last week, did we?
Yeah, so I wanted to see what your thoughts were on the follow-up they did this week.
I haven't seen the follow-up, but I'll watch that. I'll get to that by the end of this week. But I did like the match last week. I heard I read about a lot of this stuff, right? So I'm aware of what you're talking about, but I haven't actually watched it. What did you think?
I thought I would have rather seen Hook by himself.
Yeah.
I like the idea that if we didn't see Hook, they would have lost him completely, right? Because they had this thing. My concerns were he got up out of the choke after being choked out and all these other things. I think we needed to see Hook. I'm just not sure it should have been in that light, because you saw him go up to Joe and they shook hands. You beat me, and he whispered in his ear to the microphone, but I'll be back again. And Joe says, I know you will. And that was kind of the end of it, kid. And he just kind of stormed off again. So it was anticlimactic for me. I
gotta find something to do with Hook, I guess. I'm
not sure that was the thing that made me feel like, okay, Hook's the guy.
Well, we talked about what are they going to do with Joe though after the fallout of the devil thing.
Yeah,
he's not gonna join forces with him. Didn't seem like.
No, I like what they're doing with Joe. I like that he's coming out not your typical Samoa Joe look. He's dressed as a champion. He talks the same way. He lays it out there. Eyes are on him. I just I saw the show. I watched the whole show up until the Copeland match. I watched the beginnings of it. I felt like I knew what the match was going to be, so I kind of let my attention be taken away from it. Not taking away from what they did. I just thought, okay, I know what the match is going to be. I thought the night was okay. Nothing that makes me go, man, I gotta make sure I tune into these other, to whatever Saturday's Collision or whatever the other ones are. And, I feel like I can just catch up whenever I want. But I'm pretty much going to see the same players all the time.
Yep. Jumping over to other platforms here that I can't share my screen on. Somebody's curious what you think about the ranking system returning to AEW.
I think it's meaningless. And I think they pigeonhole themselves into a corner sometimes with this ranking system.
The word on the street is CM Punk talked Tony Khan into stopping it.
Well, then he should have listened. And if that's his thing and that's the hill he wants to fight on, then keep the ranking system. But does anybody really care that Sting and Darby Allin are 26-0 as a tag team?
Didn't know that till last night when I heard it on in the background.
But does it make you feel any different about anything they've done? Does this build up the match with Ricky Starks and Big Bill mean anymore? No. So I think the ranking system is a good, for the lower third, I guess for information for people to talk about. But
yeah,
I don't think the ranking system, I think they paint themselves in a corner because they say they go by the ranking system.
Getting a lot of things sent my way, guys. I'm not ignoring you.
That's awesome. Keep it coming.
What to see here? Pick one out here. Your thoughts on the Young Bucks' new television performance? Yeah. Try to find it here. I already lost the comment. The Young Bucks I guess their new direction to what they're showing them on television.
Being the EVPs and being the pros and all that stuff. I think there's legs to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like I know they confronted Private Party or something.
They confronted several people, but yeah.
But you want to make me believe it? Fire them. Legitimately fire them. Legitimately have them escorted out. Something to make me believe, because and here's why I say this. I've worked for a lot of people that were less in stature than me, but they had a presence.
Yep.
Right now, I feel like we're watching Nick and Matt play Nicholas and Matthew.
Who have you worked for that was bigger in stature than you? That's what I want to
know. Ernie Ladd was way bigger.
Okay. Oh, fair enough.
Ernie Ladd was way bigger than me. Blackjack Mulligan was taller than me. So Sting.
Yep. CSWA Production. Sting and Darby win the titles, then drop it to the Bucks.
Yeah. So what does that mean?
Yeah, but that's a great question they bring up here. How do you? Let's say that they win the titles versus Big Bill. That's a great name, by the way, Ricky Starks. And how do they approach Sting's last match here? Do you go out on top?
Well, that's just it. They groom them for, okay, let's go out on top. And then you mean you're just going to relinquish them after you win?
At first, I had a lot of mixed feelings about the Young Bucks being in that situation, just because I'm not going to lie to you. I watched the Young Bucks for a long time. They're very talented, but their TV presentation has been less than desirable for me since their time in AEW. It's but that's just kind of where they are. That silly. It's kind of weird because a lot of the AEW fans like to crap on how silly and hokey WWE is, but some of them guys sure like to do really silly things, like the Young Bucks.
You could say it. They like the hokey stuff. They
even
like
Kenny Omega, even though I think
yes,
he has not been presented in quite that manner on AEW. But I think this new direction for the Young Bucks, I like this VP thing. I think it could have legs to it. You're right. How's it going to tie in with the Sting thing? How does Sting go out? That's going to be the question.
I didn't want to see. We didn't see Sting last night. We saw the Darby Allin show. Darby Allin
Sting talked for 15 seconds.
Sting said, well, okay, I'm all in. Woo! Who the hell cares? We're seeing the end of Sting's career. It should have been Sting talking. Sting. Let's get people more interested in Sting.
I can't argue that.
I don't want to hear Darby Allin motivating Sting.
Here's my thing.
That's just me. That's just the mentality of my wrestling fandom.
The show's about you and what you think, obviously. I'm just kind of the co-host. But in my opinion, they are, maybe they're trying to do it right now, and they bring up this record that Darby Allin and Sting are, whatever you said. I don't remember what they said. Was it 22-0?
26.
No. They've never been established as a legitimate tag team. So who benefits? Because when you go out in the wrestling business, you pass the torch, per se. We hear that a lot. What torch in their regards? Like Sting, of course. But this particular run in this particular setting of this tag team, what torches are to be passed? So in my opinion, they just win his last damn match.
And if he goes out on top, if Sting goes out on top, then what do you do with Big Bill and Ricky Starks?
That's another one that kind of just came out of left field to me, that story, that tag team.
Yeah, so it's a lot of, I think it's a lot of make a wish wrestling, the things you'd like to see that entertain. We always say we were entertaining, or we were putting ideas in front of one, not millions in front of one, and that was Vince. I wonder if it's the same mindset, like Tony's booking things that entertain him, that he wants to see. Yeah. And I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just wondering, because where do you go with this story?
How do the Young Bucks benefit from Sting and Darby Allin putting them over?
No, I don't know. And like, you have to give me something more than them just deciding to become VPs now, because that means you'll never see them in the ring again. What's going to be the thing that drags them out? Darby and Sting? Why?
Going to be really interesting. And we're running out of time to figure that out too, man.
Yeah. Yes, they are.
We're really rushing to put this together here. I don't know how it's going to play out. Be curious to see. And I'll watch Sting's last match. I will. I hope he wins, though. I'm going to go ahead and say that right now.
I'd like to see him go out on top. Forget
I
all
like to
that.
see him go out on top.
Forget all that passing the torch mumbo jumbo. I'd like to see him go out on top.
But I didn't know until last night the tag team titles were even at play. So
26-0, baby.
Their tag team titles are now in play. All right. Got time for one more. Let's see here. I'll pick one more before we go into On This Day in Pro Wrestling history. Predictions on returns or surprise entrance in the Royal Rumble.
I believe there's going to be more people talking about who didn't come back than who does come back.
Meaning who?
I think there's so much talk. Trinity, Mercedes Moné, AJ, just to talk, Jade Cargill, maybe Camille, all these people they're talking about.
Yeah, Okada's been thrown out there too, hasn't he?
And Okada, and they're saying Ospreay may go, and they say MJF may come, and they say that
Ospreay?
all these people may come. But I think there's going to be a lot more talk of look at the locker room. You've got a good.
Yeah.
This could be one of those locker rooms where you don't need to bring in an Austin, a Michaels, a Triple H, a Rock. This one, you've got 30 guys there that can dance.
Yeah, but WWE's kind of set the expectation, the standard that there's going to be surprises in the Royal Rumble every year.
Yeah.
And when there isn't, people do get like
who. So who do you think it's going to be? I mean, naturally, you could see a Rey Mysterio come back.
I don't know, maybe a Lesnar.
You could see a Lesnar come back, and then you got to wonder with all the things that are breaking in the news if you're going to see Lesnar come back.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Maybe you're going to see Batista. Maybe you're going to see
Batista.
I don't know. Maybe you're going to see Nick Aldis for the first time wrestle in the Rumble. Maybe you're going to see Adam Pearce wrestle in the Rumble.
That's a good. Let's segue. Somebody asked the Nick Aldis question. Let me find it.
Okay. I mean, there's talk of Booker T coming back and X-Pac coming back and things like that. So there's always, you're right. There's always going to be somebody.
Yeah. Last question before we go to On This Day in Pro Wrestling history. Will we see Nick Aldis in the ring in 2024 in a match?
I believe that we will see Nick. And the way I would like to see Nick is I would love to see Nick against the only person I think that matters, and that's Adam Pearce. Because wow, will the wrestling world learn the history of Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis? People still, unless they Googled him, a lot of the WWE universe has no idea who Adam Pearce is, other than he was a coach in the Performance Center, became an agent, and now he's the Raw manager.
Or maybe Nick Aldis as well. They might know.
And Nick Aldis as well. So I believe that he will wrestle in 2024. And in my dream world, in my perfect scenario, I would get the Raw general manager, Nick Aldis, against the SmackDown general manager, Nick Aldis, against the Raw general manager, Adam Pearce. This is a whole lot different than Teddy Long going against John Laurinaitis. These guys can tear the house down still. So that would be the long answer is yes. I think we're going to see Nick in the ring at least once. I don't think it's going to be an occurrence all the time, but I think there's an opportunity to bring Nick against Adam coming in the future.
With all due respect to Nick Aldis, I think he's a great talent. People need to see him. I don't think in this particular role he needs to be there all the time on wrestling.
Yeah, no, yeah, don't do it because then it's watered down. I think he's doing a great job as a general manager.
He's got a good thing going with what he's doing now, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into On This Day in Pro Wrestling history. Right. Let me start queuing things up here. We'll start out with the 22nd of January and see what I can find here. BDE Live. I got a folder and everything, dude.
Live.
Okay, we'll go to the 22nd, 1994. There's a Royal Rumble event. Yokozuna defeated The Undertaker in a casket match to retain the WWF Championship. After the event that occurred post-match, The Undertaker took a break from WWF television, and they really started playing up the powers that the supernatural powers that The Undertaker has here. Let's watch.
The Undertaker, ladies and gentlemen, is not moving. Men are outside around the casket. Look at Yokozuna.
The Undertaker built this casket himself. What I think he's just done, built himself an extra large house. There's the lock. That's it.
Something's happening inside the casket. There's some sort of green gook coming out of the casket.
What in the world?
That's The Undertaker.
No.
Be not proud. The spirit of The Undertaker lives within the soul of all mankind. The eternal flame of life that cannot be extinguished. Soon all mankind will witness the rebirth of The Undertaker. I will not rest in peace.
You remember that?
Can you get away with that now?
Maybe not something that cheesy, no. But if there's one person that could.
That we look at that now. It's much like a lot of things. We look back on the things that really
Could you
captivated
get
us.
away with it then, though? There was only one person that probably could have. It's him.
Yeah, and it was amazing. But it goes back to the commentary team. It goes back to everybody's reactions to it, and the people were all in. And that's the thing about a character that people are all in on. He could do anything, and that was amazing, man. No one else could do that.
Maggie on TikTok says, Yokozuna, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't talk about him too much on the show, do we?
No. We gotta set aside time for the big man.
Yeah, for sure. But dude, speaking of the man, Undertaker,
jeez.
He got really his first break. He had been going pretty hard since he came in the company here.
Yeah.
He came back better than ever after this. This is a cool little exit, then brought back repackaged, slightly more modernized Undertaker. Always great about repackaging himself. But
yeah,
that was a cool moment, man. I really enjoyed that moment.
Yeah, and those are the best moments because you listen, if we all were afforded those opportunities when we were banged up, hurt, or needed a break,
yeah,
it's awesome. But that character, like you said, coming back, the evolution of the Undertaker continued way after that. But it was a good point, and that's one of those characters you missed. And even though you may not have talked about him every week after that, you missed him so much to the point when he came back, it was like, whoa.
Yeah. On to the next day, the 23rd. This is in 1984. You talked about this earlier. Hulkamania was born as Hulk Hogan defeated the Iron Sheik in Madison Square Garden to win his first WWF Championship. He held that thing right over 4 years. Let's take a look.
Loaded the boot.
Loaded it up somehow, planted it right in that kidney area, and it took its toll. Boston Crab really bearing down. Hogan doing a push-up, unbelievable. Suplex coming up. Now he's going for it. Camel clutch coming up. Yes, he's got it.
He's got it. No one has been able to escape that.
He's starting to shake. Look at he's powering his way up. Oh. Stands up with a Sheik and rams it into the top turnbuckle.
I don't even want to talk. I want to watch the match.
Sheik going up. Hulk Hogan, he drops the big leg on him. He's down for the cover. Hook the leg. 1, 2. He got History made in Madison Square Garden. And the fans on their feet.
Hey, Scotty, thanks for jumping in, man. Yeah, what a cool moment, dude.
Two things. One, no one in Madison Square Garden wanted to see the Iron Sheik win. That's huge. That's a huge cog in this machine. The ultimate heel. No one was cheering for the Iron Sheik. The biggest thing is Hulk Hogan, there was no comeback. He dropped him in the corner. He came up with the big leg drop, and that was it. There was no comeback. That match, if I remember, that match lasted like 5.5 minutes or something like that.
I edited it down to the usual minute, but yeah, there wasn't a big comeback. The match was longer than that a little bit.
There was no comeback.
But there was not much action in the match. No, I meant.
So he did all that, and it shows you a different time in the business. But when are you ever going to get anybody to go with the fact of, listen, man, I'm just going to do this, drop the leg, and beat you?
I'll tell you what, though. I'll tell you one
moment,
thing.
man.
I'll tell you one thing. Vince McMahon banked a lot on Hulk Hogan, and within 3 months of him coming there in WWF, look at what they've started to build.
Skyrocketed.
Iron Sheik's a big part of putting him over there, man.
Yeah.
Two massive dudes in there too. You look at that. I watched that clip and I'm like, my gosh, they're like monsters, dude.
Well, so think about this for a second. Take a second, and this goes out to everybody who's listening, all the BDE out there listening, and answer this question. Can you say there's one person that when they go out, the crowd isn't cheering for them, hates them from start to finish? I'm not talking about booing Dominic when he tries to talk, because there's Dominic Mysterio fans. You see what I'm saying? There's fans of everybody. There's fans of Punk. There's people who hate Punk. There's fans of Cody. People who don't like Cody. Can you give me one heel character, one bad guy that is so disliked start to finish that they want to see him lose? The Sheik was in a class of his own. It was amazing. And this I think that was the huge slingshot for Hulkamania.
And it ran wild from there on out, I tell you what.
Oh man, did it ever.
What a cool moment, though. Definitely a significant moment, and really what developed into the golden era of WWF then.
Yeah. Really.
Hulk Hogan. There's no modern WWE without a Hulk Hogan.
Right.
And that just shows you that investment was huge. That paid off. Yeah, big time. Let's jump to the 24th, and this is one of my favorite moments, Bill. I love this moment. 24th, 1999, WWE's Royal Rumble, No Chance in Hell pay-per-view, as they deemed it, went down at the Arrowhead Pond in Anaheim, California. In the Royal Rumble match itself, Vince McMahon was declared the victor. He entered the match second spot, with Stone Cold being in the first. Both men spent the majority of the match away from the ring, which was interesting, but ended up as the final two. With The Rock's help, McMahon eliminated Austin to win the match. This here is clips of those two, Austin and McMahon's rival, throughout the match here.
Mr. McMahon looks extremely confident. And here goes Austin. Hammered away on the boss. Yeah! And there we go now. Luther's press.
Oh, go good.
Hammered away on Austin.
What are you doing?
Wait a minute.
Down, you idiot.
Look at McMahon. Mr. McMahon crawled under the bottom rope in the crowd.
Oh, no, this is horrible.
As Ross comes to the ring.
Where's he going to be? The man's the ladies' room.
Hey, it was a trap. The Cooper team. And the corporation ambushed him.
Look, he's won the last.
The Rumble is back. Yeah. The hell he's not. The chase is on.
Get in the ring, Mr. McMahon.
He almost had him. And Mr. McMahon again slides out.
Yeah. Plus, there's 3 men left. Mr. McMahon's still in there.
And Mr. McMahon. We're down to 2.
No.
Oh.
Get him out.
He's not an athlete of a Fortune 500 company. Low blow.
Do you know how hard it was to get all that in that time limit? I'm damn proud of that edit there.
Nice job, man. It's do you think Stone Cold and McMahon go down as one of the best rivalries in the WWE?
Oh yeah,
hands down.
Without that, I don't know what it consists of today. That's another one. You talk about Hogan, and you got to follow that up with Austin getting hot and that. But watching that back, I've actually watched that a couple years ago, that match, and I watched part of it as I was doing this. There was a Royal Rumble, and they were out of that ring so much, but you didn't even think about it because you were so invested in that storyline between those two.
Yeah. Wrestlers are like magicians, right? It's like the sleight of hand. If you keep everybody looking over here, you're not really paying attention to this until it all comes back together again. It's classic stuff. And that was the go-to for so long, was when we kind of ran out of things to do, back to Austin McMahon.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. What about Vince McMahon in that match? Did he look like a monster or what?
He looked like a freaking monster. He looked like a monster, but it was always terrible. I felt bad because what the majority of the times Vince got in the ring, he pulled something or tweaked something or hurt something, but it goes back to Vince would never ask anybody to do something he wouldn't do. And Vince listen, he took that chair. His hands weren't up.
No, he took everything always. Yeah.
Straight away. So
yeah.
I was and I'm always a fan of, that mentality of, I'd never ask you to do something I wouldn't do, and I'm willing to put myself that Vince McMahon character on the line to make a storyline work. So,
yeah, Mr. McMahon character was awesome. Yeah,
the character was awesome. Yeah,
so much happened in that Royal Rumble. It was just so much happened outside of the ring in the Royal Rumble. It was crazy. But those two guys, you could watch them any day of the week.
Yep.
And that's still, even a couple years ago at WrestleMania, it was still a money moment, dude. I mean,
and up until this week, going back to the question of who I thought was, there were people commenting, and I saw it on the IWC, Internet Wrestling Community, where people were saying, hey, what if Vince shows up at the Rumble? Prior to this week's news, they said, oh, what if Vince showed up again at the Rumble? Anything's possible, man.
I didn't think even before this week we'd see Mr. McMahon again.
I'll tell you what, I would pop huge for it. If I would have saw it, I would have went, you got to be kidding.
Yeah. I just didn't see it happening again.
No,
honestly.
I didn't see it happening either, but I think it's cool the way people think.
All right, let's move on to the 25th. This was, and I remember watching this one also live. Man, I remember watching a lot of things live. This was on the 25th of 2004. WWE's Royal Rumble took place in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Chris Benoit entered the Royal Rumble match at number 1 and went on to eliminate the Big Show to win the match. You probably remember this iconic moment. Let's take a watch.
And left. Uh-oh. Jericho's going to get choke slammed right through this damn ring. Oh, no!
Nick he's going to eliminate.
Oh, Benoit put up a hell of a fight, JR.
Face the champion in the main event.
Look at this angle slam!
Slam!
How insane is the conditioning?
Benoit gets the angle slam. That only can be eliminated one way, but Angle will break your ankle.
That's that large leg on the Big Show.
Big Show being tortured here.
Wow!
Kurt Angle eliminated.
Now we're down to 2, my man.
Benoit, Big Show.
Look at this! Oh my God!
He didn't go to the outside. A bad break for Benoit. That's the fate of Chris Benoit. His chances just ran out.
Look at this counter! Counter! Cross-face counter!
Can damn sure weaken the 500-pounder.
There's no doubt about that. Look at power.
But it is what it is.
Yeah, well, put up.
Where do you go from here? You go to the outside. And Benoit fighting.
Look at this counter.
And Benoit.
Oh, there he goes. Benoit's hanging onto that head like a damn lock in that pitbull right there. Oh, my God. He's going to go. JR.
What's going on? Yes. Benoit.
Here is your winner, Royal Rumble match, Chris Benoit.
Benoit's going to WrestleMania.
Over 1 hour of hell.
Chris Benoit has worked his ass off for 19 years, and the day has come.
I popped like crazy during that. Well, obviously Chris Benoit later on, you can't celebrate. But what you can remember are these kind of things. And I remember watching this live and just that David and Goliath theme, even though Chris Benoit was a big guy in strength, size for his height. That David and Goliath theme there was just huge though. And in that moment, I always remember that.
And one of the best ways to eliminate a big man. You think it's always especially Rumble time, it's always like 5 or 6 guys trying to get rid of the bigger guys, or everybody ganging up on him. And then here's a one-on-one, and that was the one way to get him out. And the people were with it the whole way because of the way it was built, and the players in the field there. But that when he got him, choked him out over the top, that was I don't know what the right word is. That's an interesting way for it to happen. To your point, the David and Goliath, like people are expecting, someone else to come out and help him over. No, he did it.
How else could you eliminate the Big Show realistically?
You're kind of limited to figuring it out, and that was well done.
The Big Show is big then, man.
Yeah, gosh, dog.
Okay, so not to go down the Chris Benoit rabbit hole as we have only one more clip to show, but what was the thought backstage when it was very evident at this point in time Benoit was about to get that moment he had worked for?
Amongst the boys, it was great. People were like, okay, this makes sense. And, someone that could carry that, had the stature to carry that, that title and that opportunity, and to really give a good matchup, and, to give a good, I don't want to use the word performance lightly, but you know what I mean? Someone to really take everybody on a trip there. It was definitely a feel good moment at the time in the locker room.
I can see that for sure.
Yeah.
And of course that moment came to life at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
For him. It was a big moment. Okay, so we're going to jump to 2014 on the 26th. Batista won the Royal Rumble match at the pay-per-view. It was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It was Batista's first match since he left the company in 2010. He last eliminated Roman Reigns, who broke the record for eliminations in a single Rumble match. That's when Kane held the record at 11, and they had Roman Reigns eliminate 12. I think Brock Lesnar broke it later, if I remember correctly. That one Royal Rumble when he came out early and just eliminated a crap ton of people.
Mm-hmm. Right before the pandemic, right?
Yeah. We'll watch this clip, then we'll talk about it. But what stood out to me about it?
This is groggy.
Batista, yeah, you're right. Roman Reigns the stronger of the two right now. It's the Royal Rumble match, the final 2-man in electric atmosphere in Pittsburgh. Oh, Batista with a spear!
Batista with a spear of his own! Almost cut Roman Reigns in half!
And a spear by Reigns! Is it Roman Reigns' moment? Is it his night? Headline WrestleMania 30 at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans.
The first thing that stood out to me here, Roman Reigns was not normally cheered.
Right.
They did not like Dave Batista. They be in the crowd when he came back.
Right. Do you attribute that to him being gone and then coming back and being one of the last ones in?
Well, what I contribute it almost completely to, in my opinion, which doesn't mean much, but how over Daniel Bryan was. They didn't want to see anybody. And this is like, at this point in time right here, I'm not in the know of what's going on behind the scenes, and you were in NXT now, and you wouldn't have known either, but it didn't seem like even at this point in time they had Daniel Bryan penciled in winning at WrestleMania that year.
No.
But continued to force the issue until it happened. The crowd made that happen. And I think the crowd turned on him. Of course, he quit. Remember he cried like a crybaby. Like, I quit, that whole thing. So he's established as a heel. He came back with this Evolution reboot. But nevertheless, it was still very evident to me that the rejection came on the behalf of the love of Daniel Bryan, in my opinion.
Because he was being passed up, right? Because other people were coming in and being,
what's best for business. They called him a B+ player, right? Yeah. I think that's and Dave Bautista's, I don't want to call it a lackluster run on a return. Certainly didn't last very long. He made some good money, I'm sure, but I don't think that they predicted that he would be dismissed by the audience that much.
No, and my time's way off, but to me, that was the part of when you started addressing the WWE universe. The fans really were speaking out. The fans were letting you know who they wanted, what they wanted, and anybody but this guy. And that's why I said, does it attribute to how he left last time and then coming back? Like
Possibly.
he bypassed everybody, and just like, okay, I'm back and I'm going to do this. And Roman was not a fan favorite at the time, but anybody
they said forcing him down our throats is what everybody was saying then.
Yes.
So to your point, not a fan favorite, but yet Batista gets this heat. And they have to play off of it, right? I mean, he's a heel from then on out.
Yep.
Whether he wanted to be or not originally on their story, what they wanted. But yeah, Daniel Bryan was so over then.
Yeah.
Then to go on to WrestleMania 30, which is crazy. It's been 10 years here in a few months. And they had that triple threat match, and the rest is history.
Yep.
But what a cool moment, though, again. But that's one where I didn't predict that it would go that way as far as how he'd be taken when he came back.
Yeah. Well, but that goes back to the beginning of the episode and our conversation is we're talking about the possibilities and what it means for Cody or what it means for this one or what it means for Rock at the head of the table. And like, to me, that's the beauty of this. We can talk about it and we'll talk about it all the way up to Mania. Yeah. But I'm just excited to see what they do in the ride they take us on, because it's going to be something we're not expecting. I don't think anything's in stone where you can tell me what's going to happen and nothing will surprise you. I'm fully expecting to be blown away by WrestleMania both nights. So I like I'm a big fan of On This Day. I love when you go down and take the clips and bring us there, and then it just continues the stories and builds up to what we're talking about modern times. So another great bunch of On This Day. I'm a big fan of that. Don't stop doing that, man. It's getting a lot of traction too.
Appreciate it. Yeah, if you're not familiar with what we're talking about, look up On This Day of Pro Wrestling History, or me, Jeff Townsend. I share that on all my social media.
Yeah.
It's something cool that I try to do every day, and we like to discuss it here on the show at the end. So this is I think those were 5 good clips to show, man. It's fun. It's Royal Rumble season, man.
It's an exciting time. It's an exciting time.
Last question for you for the end of the episode. Who's winning the Rumble?
Men?
Yes. Oh, both. Either or for you.
Man, I'd love to see Gunther repeat again.
Oh, you mean actually win it this time?
Yeah, I'd love to see Gunther go the whole time. Again, right? Wasn't it last year's Royal Rumble? He went top to bottom, outlasted everybody.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to see him do it again.
Maybe Sports Illustrated's onto something here, Bill.
And then him and Seth go at it.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
And the women's? Do you go back with some of the old one, or do you have somebody new?
That's the thing. I don't have anybody new.
That's my thing too.
I think it's going to wind up, and I think they've teased it enough and kind of told us they put the cards on the table, unless it's something way out of the blue. I think we're going to see Becca and Rhea Ripley in WrestleMania.
Yep. They've teased the Bailey too a little bit, haven't they?
Yeah, they've been teasing Bailey, and who knows what part she'll play in it. But I don't see anybody new, and it's not a knock. I just don't see anybody new saying, "Okay, this is the person."
Bill, we've come to the end of the episode, man.
Cool.
It's been another fun week. I can't wait to watch the Royal Rumble and us talk about it next week.
Yeah.
And I hope everything with the dinner and the foundation goes well tomorrow, man.
Thank you, bud. I appreciate it. We're looking forward to it. And then We are. We're looking forward to. It's funny. All the things we talked about this week and going. Hey, we know Saturday we're gonna relax and watch the Rumble Saturday night and kind of decompress. And we got football on Sunday, and it's gonna be a good weekend. But yeah, this is that time of the year in wrestling where things start to pick up, and we really never know what's gonna happen from week to week.
True. One thing we do know, we'll be here next week.
Yes.
At 9 p.m. Eastern. Ish. Might be 5 minutes after. It might be like today and be 10 or 15 minutes after. That's all on me. I'll take the heat for that. Join us next week. We'll talk all things Royal Rumble, I'm sure.
I love it.
Bill, hit your punchline, then I'll hit mine, man. We'll get out of here.
Do what you say. Say what you mean what you do.
Love it. And keep being you and keep being great.
Jeff Townsend Media. CG, good night.
And the question is, do I stay here? Will you be back? Are you gonna come back? Will you be back? Are you coming back?